on. The Dolphins didn't leave with Seattle without some issues, some casualties. Earl Mitchell re-aggravated his calf injury. He's on the IR, out for at least 6 weeks, maybe the entire season, right?
Yeah.
Possibly. And Mario Williams suffered a concussion. What's the update?
I'm not sure if Mario Williams is practicing today. My partner, Chris Perkins, practice is taking place right now. Mario Williams is going to be sidelined with a concussion. He's not going to be practicing. Concussion protocol, once you're in the concussion protocol, it takes a while. Matt Moore was explaining to me the process that they have to go through in terms of the testing that they have to take. Their brains are scanned at the beginning of the season. Your brain level and activity has to get back to when you were scanned before training camp. You've got to pass another number of memory tests and brain tests, and that takes at least a week. So the fact that Mario Williams is not practicing right now, and then you got to practice for a couple of days before they'll even clear you to play. So the fact that Mario Williams isn't practicing in one of the 3 practices, if he doesn't practice tomorrow, he's not going to be playing against the Patriots.
That's not good.
Yeah, definitely not good. Parker is still battling the hamstring and is not practicing. That's not good.
Oh, man. Okay.
Man, damn. Devontae Parker is a very key contributor to this offense because the 3 receiver sets is what this offense's bread and butter is. And right now, they don't have a 3rd receiver to play. Leonte Carrera was out there, but he was just out there.
Right.
Jakeem Grant is not ready to play. I'm not even comfortable with him as a returner, but he's not ready to play wide receiver. And Justin Hunter just got here a week ago, and it's very disappointing when you see the 2 tight end package and you see that it's kind of womp-womp.
Right.
And that has to be utilized a little bit more just because you don't have 3 wide receivers. Just so disappointing.
All right, let's take our next Twitter question. Comes from Vernon. Did Jordan Phillips change your perspective after a decent performance?
I don't know if my perspective has changed. It's altered a little bit. I did not know he could play the way that he played. And here's what's the issue that Jordan Phillips, he's always had a lazy label. He's always had a motor question. And I wasn't certain that he was going to be healthy enough or durable enough or have the stamina to play 50 snaps, especially with Earl Mitchell down. He played it and played it well. 4 tackles, a half a sack. Forcing that fumble, even though he didn't force it, it was a bad pitch, but he hit the linebacker. It was a beautiful play and allowed Kiko Alonso to recover a fumble. If Jordan Phillips continues to play like he's playing in game 1, you have a stud. The question is with him is it going to be a consistent thing?
He has such a ho-hum disposition. You know, he's, and
Paul Soley had a ho-hum disposition.
You got to turn it on. You got to turn it on.
You got to turn it on. Here's the thing that I think is encouraging about game 1. He probably looked at the situation and was like, you know what? I'm a pretty good player. Hey, look, did you see what I just did?
Right.
And he had a dominant game. And I'm like, if he can play like that next to Sue on a regular basis, I don't even need him to do it for 50 snaps. Give me 20 snaps of that. You got something.
Well, I mean, when you got Mario Williams on one end, you got Cam Wake, playing situationally on the other end, and you got Ndonga Suh, and then it's just you.
Sue's going to take on a center. All you got is a guard. All you have is a left guard. Beat that man. Now, you're not going to beat Richie Incognito consistently like that, but you should be able to beat people on your same playing field, the Dallas Thomases of the league. You should be able to beat them 15 to 20 times.
And I see he's always around with Sue. They're talking a lot.
They're friends.
They're friends. So, you hope that a little bit of that intensity that comes from Sue is getting through to Phillips. Gage asks, what is a bigger area of concern, defensive line depth or secondary depth going forward?
It's got to be defensive line depth. I mean, they signed Chris Jones today. I thought he was a player who deserved to be on the 53-man roster. I don't really see that much of a difference between him and Earl Mitchell. I was never a huge Earl Mitchell fan. Those who follow me know he's just there.
Right.
Chris Jones can play. Julius Wormsley, I think, is still an intriguing prospect, intriguing player. But the ends now. With Mario Williams down, Terrence Fede comes up. And Terrence Fede hasn't shown you that he is a pass-rushing presence. I really haven't seen much other than special teams, and he's battling a knee injury. So now you're putting a heavier load on the snap count on Cameron Wake, which I'm okay with.
Right.
Understand, the biggest issue that I had, other than not kicking the field goal on 4th and inches from the 17, the biggest issue I had in the Seattle game was Cameron Wake was not on that field for that final drive, with the exception of 3rd down plays. I'm sorry, but in critical moments of those games, you need your best players out on the field. And stars like Cameron Wake, who is a 4-time Pro Bowler, has made so many plays throughout his career that has sealed a victory for you or has changed the tide of a game. He should have been on that field every single snap. I don't care what point he was in his Achilles rehab. Hell, if you don't practice him on Wednesday to give him the rest, he should have played every single one of those snaps, and it was very disappointing to see that it didn't happen. So now I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do with Mario Williams. Cam Wake is not going to set the edge like Mario Williams. I can admit that Cam Wake is not that much of an edge setter right now, but he should be on the field more.
And to answer the second half of that question, the secondary, you know, a couple things we were worried about. Xavier Howard on that one edge, he didn't give up any too big plays, and then the combination of Issa Abdul-Quddus and Rashad in the back looked pretty good. Abdul-Quddus made an interception and a couple nice plays, and Russell Wilson had his career high in pass attempts with 43. That was 43.
You dropped some nuggets on me today.
I'm dropping them.
You're dropping them.
And the Seahawks only scored 12 points. So that was impressive.
Here's the biggest issue that I saw with that game. If Russell Wilson sees that he should pick on Bobby McCain, Bill Belichick will also see that he will pick on Bobby McCain. Now, Bobby McCain's going to get heavy action anyway because he's in the slot. Patriots throw primarily to the slot. Now there's Chris Hogan, 7-11 out there. The Patriots have a team full of slot receivers. So it's going to be a challenge for Bobby McCain. He needs to show that he can respond. And I wrote a column in today's Sentinel that young players will always get a chance to prove themselves. And if they fall short, then you can't do it. Bobby McCain in the next 4 weeks, just now because Russell Wilson showed that he's the man to target, Bobby McCain's going to get a heavy dose of action. He's either going to prove he's an NFL player or he's going to be out.
All right, so let's get a little update on Mike Pouncey's hip injury. We talked a little bit about Parker already, and Jay Ajayi. Are we going to see him this week?
I don't know if you're going to see Jay Ajayi, and here is the reason why. It's not because he had a run-in with Adam Gase. It's not because he has an ego and is disappointed with the fact that he was demoted. The reality is Jay Ajayi is probably the 4th best back on this team. Even though he had the starting spot, he was given the opportunity because of his work ethic to prove that he deserved the starting spot. We all saw he did not. Now the question is, after you show that you don't deserve the starting spot, what do you contribute on special teams? What do you contribute as a pass blocker? What do you contribute as a pass receiver? Not a good pass receiver. Okay, pass blocking, not that great. And doesn't really do anything on special teams. Isaiah Peeds does something on special teams. Great pass catcher, decent pass blocker. Kenyon Drake, great pass catcher, does a lot of special teams work, doesn't pass block. So that means
Damian Williams.
Damian Williams is a hell of a pass blocker, pretty good pass catcher, and he get one of the top 5 special teams players. So that means all 3 players outside of Arian Foster play ahead of you. That means Jay Ajayi might not be active for a while.
Even if Jay Ajayi was the 2nd best running back with the ball in his hands, which we're not really sure he is.
He's
not. He's not. Then what does he do? Not much.
He's right now, Jay Ajayi should be spending his week as a punishment and as to indicate where he is, serving as a practice squad running back. And I'm just being honest with you because I'm sorry.
Do your best LeGarrette Blount impression.
Yeah, that's where your 5th back is. Now, you want to get off that practice squad, start tearing up the first team defense, and then we'll think about it.